people need to get their money shit together. I wish I would have known this a long time ago, so I'm trying to spread the word. Hey everyone, welcome back to the page. I'm Tiara and we are here to talk some more money. So if you haven't been to this page before, like I said before, my name is Tiara. My husband and I became debt-free at the beginning of this year, 2021. Paid off the majority of the stuff last year though in 2020, so we finessed quarantine. So I've been making a series of videos breaking down how we budgeted and how we got out of debt. This is number, 4 or something out of this debt series. And this one I'm going to be talking specifically about accounts, because knowing where our money was at or creating accounts to put specific money in them helps a lot with how we pay our bills still to this day. So before I get started, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and let's get into this. So no breakdowns in this video. I'm just going to be talking. So first things first, with getting started, setting up your accounts, understanding your accounts, I would say to make things super clear and simple, you might need to set up some additional accounts or reorganize your current accounts if you have more than one, to understand where all of your money is and what money is in which account. And most importantly, to also have each of your accounts be used for very specific things. All have their own very specific reason for existing in the first place. We don't want to create extra accounts just to create accounts. We're creating accounts for efficiency. So I'm going to be using my specific accounts so it's easier for me to explain. So the types of accounts you might want to have, and once again, these are my accounts. If you think that you don't need one of these or you need an extra one, good for you. So at the beginning of this debt-free paying off stuff, I only had one account through my credit union that I've had forever. Now we have about 4 or 5. So the accounts you might need to have. We have a main account. So main account is the account I have with the credit union. Main account will also be a main account that Marcos already has, his own bank account that he had before we were even together or whatever. So I'll just speak for my accounts and then our joint accounts, because this is just extra stuff that doesn't need to be in the video. But number 1, the main account. Main account is my credit union. This is the account that all of my paychecks go into, and in the beginning it was where all my paychecks go, where I was paying bills out of, where I was everything was with this one account. After we got the hang of this debt-free thing, this main account became not my everything account, but the account that I would get my check deposited into, the bills account, and then the account that I now and throughout the debt payoff was where I distributed money from to the other account. So my main account gets my paychecks deposited into. It's kind of the bills account, because that's where I know I will move money from in order to pay bills, but I'll get more into that. And then ultimately it is the account that I use to distribute money to the other newly created accounts that I'm going to jump into. Second account that you might have, a savings account. So my main account, of course, has a checkings and a savings. However, I don't like the savings connected to this checking account, because this is where all the money goes, and this is also where all the money gets distributed out to the other accounts. And so when there's money in that savings account, I get a little more like, well, that money's just sitting right there. I can easily transfer it from this savings account over into my checking account within seconds. And so it's almost like it's not a savings account, it's just an extra account that has money in it. And so I opened up a second savings account specifically for my emergency savings account, which at the time when I first opened it, it was the emergency savings account that I was thinking for my portion of, like, if we ever had like a rainy day. Marcos also had a separate one himself, but it just made more sense for us to later have at least a joint account. Yes, we're married, not all of our accounts are blended. So now, and maybe like halfway into the debt-free paying down stuff situation, it became just my personal savings account. So Marcos and I both have our own personal savings account, and then we also have a joint account that we put money into that is for us, for our rainy day. So we have a rainy day fund, and then we also have accounts for ourselves to say, okay, well, if I want to, this is my additional account just in case. And not just in case we break up or something like that, but like if our joint rainy day fund ever ran out, then it's nice to know like, oh, we both have one other account, so 2 total other accounts that have emergency money in them. Another thing to note here is with this savings account, we were not doing like regular allotments, but in the beginning, and we got this from Dave Ramsey, you make sure you put aside $1,000 into an emergency fund just in case something goes wrong. And so at first I used this newly set up savings account to build up my $1,000 fund or emergency fund. Marcos also did the same thing, and then when we also got our joint account, we also put $1,000 in there as our baseline, basically as our zeros. $1,000 is our zero in our account, so we weren't comfortable with the $1,000 emergency fund before getting started on just throwing all of our money at this debt. So we set up our separate personal savings accounts, put $1,000 in each one of them, and then we no longer put an allotment into those accounts until after we're debt free. And now we have our own specific, however much money we want to each month, putting into each one of these accounts with no cap. There's no plan for a cap on any of these. It's just a recurring allotment that comes out of our paychecks as soon as we get paid and goes to those specific untouchable accounts. So that is something to note. When you set up this personal savings account, it is to put in your $1,000 for an emergency fund and then go crazy paying off your debt. And then after you are done paying off everything, then you can start building again on top of that $1,000. So yes, number 1, main account. Number 2, personal savings account that is not connected to your checking account. Third account, we opened up a joint checking and savings account through Marcos Credit Union, and we used the checking account as a grocery account. So this is basically like 2 accounts in one, where you have a joint savings and checking account if you're doing this with somebody else. So our checking inside that joint account is what we use as our grocery account, and we specifically have a certain allotment of money that goes into that account every single month, and we only use that for groceries. Like, this is the grocery account. It's not for anything else. It's not if you be like, I got like $1,000 in this grocery account, but I really want to buy this, but I don't have it in my own main account as leftover for fun money. You don't get to dig into your grocery account to use it for fun money because you ran out of fun money in your main account. So grocery account, the savings account was where we would stockpile our contributions to whatever bill it was that we were paying off at the time. So when I was paying my student loans, we both would move over our committed to amount each month, and then I would pay out of that account to my Great Lakes loan until it was gone. And now that it's gone, that account will be where we have our joint emergency 6-month, 12-month. I'm hoping for $100K to be in that account before I feel comfortable. But we're starting with the 6-month emergency fund, which we are currently working on. And so if you need help calculating your 6-month emergency fund, go based off of what it costs you to live each month and then divide it by 6. For us, we are good with $4,000. So if you divide that by 6, our 6-month emergency fund is going to be $24,000. However, 24 sounds weird, so we're just going to do 25. But yes, that is a part of the third account that you might want to have, a joint savings checkings account with your significant other. Okay, so another part of this, like, understanding and setting up your account situation would be to understand when your bills are due throughout the month. And so, as mentioned on previous videos, after we created our budget and all that good stuff, I went in and I moved all my bills to fall within the first week of every month, because we get paid once a month, and therefore right after I get paid on the last business day of the month, I'd rather have all my shit paid in the first week of the month, so then come week 2 I'm not wondering, oh, do I have money left over? Well, then anyways, I wouldn't want to wonder, do I have money left over? Can I do this? Do I actually have fun money left over? You don't know, because sometimes things are still pending if they are due on a bunch of random dates within the month. So a part of understanding your accounts and your expenses is to also understand when these bills are due, the billing cycles, that good stuff. And if it's easier for you, it was easier for me, just call all of your companies that you owe some shit to and move the dates. Have them do all on the same date if you want to. We get paid once a month, so we had to learn to not stretch our money, but like stagger how we were going about spending our money, because by week 2 or week 3 of the month, you could literally not have no fucking money and still be waiting until the end of the month, until the next paycheck, versus most people who get paid every 2 weeks. Not the case for us. Once a month, which means we need to know where our money is going at what time of the month, so then we can ration it out throughout the month, so it's not just gone within the first week or 2 of each month, and then you're sitting there looking around looking stupid because you don't have any money for the rest of the month, or you're trying to go and get plastic now and swipe because you overspent somewhere instead of budgeting. So yeah, change the due dates on your bills if you need to. Another thing that I've mentioned very briefly in another video was you need to know when these things are due, because there will be times where once you build your budget, you will think you paid something, and then a week later they're talking about, oh, here you go, your bill is due. And you're like, no, it's not. I already paid this bill. But if you don't know your billing cycles, you just paid some extra money that didn't get accounted for. Not that it didn't get accounted for, because it still went toward your bill, but it didn't go toward that billing cycle, so it still looks like you owe money for that billing cycle. So yes, set up your accounts how you need to, so you can understand when everything is due, and also so you can easily budget out, ration out your money for all of your bills throughout the month, and not spending it and then later looking like, oh, thought I had money left over. No. Another thing, which this is still an account, but this is not an account that you would maybe think of, but at work, if you have a 401k that you are contributing part of your paycheck to, you should, well, I would recommend lower the contribution that you are putting in there, so then you can have more money in your paycheck, so then you can pay down your bills faster. If you're trying to pay things down at the fastest rate possible, you want to have more money in your paycheck. Therefore, if you're contributing to a 401k, HSA, whatever, a blah, 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 Roth IRA, traditional IRA, something, you can either dead that completely and don't contribute anything at all, or contribute a smaller amount. So like for me, I didn't, oh, and then this is actually something that Dave Ramsey also recommends, but I didn't dead the situation completely. I went from contributing 7% of my paycheck to 1%. And so I was still, you know, feeling good about adding something to my 401k while we were paying this down, but 6% of that is going to go back into my paycheck, so then we can put more money toward this stuff and get rid of it. And then of course, once we were done paying everything off, then I re-increased my contribution percentage from 1 back to where it was. And what I plan to do is increase it by 2% every single year until I'm at about 15%, maybe 20%, depending on how we're doing at that time, so we can put all this money in retirement. So then when we retire, we'll be in good shape too. So yes, lower or stop 401k contributions, other retirement contributions. So if you need some extra money somewhere, or you finally get to your budgeting stage and you're finding out that you don't have enough money to even cover all your bills, that might be a place that will give you some money back, so you have a little bit of wiggle room, or so you can actually meet the total amount that you have to pay towards your bills each month by lowering your 401k contributions. Yes, so that is it for this video, you guys, and a quick summary. Understanding and setting up your accounts. If you only have one account like I did, starting out a checking and savings account, in addition to your main account, you want to open up an additional account for a savings account that you cannot easily touch. So when you save the money, then you save the money, and you might even actually forget about it because you don't see it when you log into your main account. In addition to your emergency savings account, if you're doing this with a spouse and you guys do not have joined accounts, maybe consider opening up a joint account where you have a checking and a savings, and you can use those for whatever you need to. We decided to use that third account for our grocery account. So I specifically have a debit card that I use only at the grocery store. And then we also have our savings account that is over there that we use to throw each of our contributions to whatever bill we were paying off at the time and pay out of that account. And now it serves as our emergency fund that we are currently working on building our 6-month emergency fund, which will later be our 12-month, which will later be our $100,000 in savings. And then fourth, change the due dates to your bills. If you have bills all over the place, all over the month, you do not have to do like I do and put them all in the first week of the month. However, if you get paid every 2 weeks, maybe you can do one the first week of the month and then also the third week of the month, and then you can stagger them there so they line up or stagger your paychecks. And then lastly, if you have any type of retirement accounts, you either want to stop contributing or you want to lower them so then you get extra money back into your paychecks. Thank you guys for watching. If this information was helpful, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and please send this to anyone that you think will find this valuable. People need to get their money shit together. I wish I would have known this a long time ago, so I'm trying to spread the word. Yeah, see you guys on the next one.